Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So, I got a fun and exciting video for you guys today because we're going over the Super Mario Bros. 3 level design contest compilation. These are levels that came out in 2023 and they've been updated and compiled together in 2025 about a few days ago to give you some of the best Kaizo and other designed Super Mario Bros. 3 levels in Super Mario Bros. All-Stars that you can possibly get. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But trust me when I say some of the levels in this are going to be absolutely mind-bendingly hard. They're probably going to take multiple hours for you to get through a single one of them in all of the best ways possible. And trust me, I am not some sort of Kaizo Mario master here whatsoever. I definitely come at these at a more casual perspective. What I really love about this level design competition and the compilation of levels you get with inside of it is just how different every single world is and every single level is. You're going to be doing one core mechanic in every level, and then the next level you move on to is going to do something completely different. So it's going to require you to be able to basically read a screen and understand every single mechanic in Mario if you're ever going to actually see the end of this game. And some of the levels are locked behind gate progression as well, so you're going to have to beat a certain amount of them before you can move on. But the nice thing is this overall structure is going to allow you to have like 20 levels right off the top. That way you can kind of pick and choose what you want to move through until you get to some of those harder levels, because some levels you're instantaneously going to understand exactly what they're asking of you and be able to play them. Other levels are definitely going to kill you 15, 20, even 50 times before you're able to actually figure out what the hook is and understand. And this kind of screen wrap level right here, definitely one of my favorites, at least off the top, one that I was making some decent progress in. But the fun thing about Mario levels like this is that it's going to challenge you in every single direction to get better at the game, understand every single mechanic, and start combining mechanics together to be able to progress. If you've never played a Mario game before, definitely not for you, but if you've never played a Mario game before, I would also wonder what you're actually doing on my channel in the first place. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me, hard Mario hacks, Kaizo Mario hacks, are you a fan or not? I would say that 9 times out of 10 when I talk about them on the channel, most people say they do not play them whatsoever, but this one actually, as far as the difficulty is concerned, kind of guides you in a little bit and gives you those options to be able to actually pick a level you choose, because in some Kaizo Mario ROM hacks you're going to have to beat every single level in the order in which it's presented. So if you get hit on a real roadblock, you're basically going to be sitting there for dozens upon dozens of hours, or you're going to end up giving up. And before you debate down below whether or not this is a Kaizo Mario ROM hack, some of the levels have Kaizo blocks in them, which feels like one of the qualifications, and honestly, anything that is difficult and kind of tries to screw with you and kill you in new and inventive ways is something that I would consider to be Kaizo territory. But you can leave me a comment down below and you tell me, because people seem to love to argue over what exactly Kaizo is, especially when I say that word out loud. But the fun part is, with all of the different designers in here, you get such a complete different vibe on every single level. And I think one of the most unique things about all of these ROM hacks, whether they're Kaizo or just difficult, is how they can take mechanics that you know from Super Mario Bros. And then basically pivot them up, like having water suspended in the air. You're never going to see that in Super Mario Bros. 3 or All-Stars, but you can see it in a ton of different ROM hacks, and it's that kind of diversity of gameplay style, giving you a new and different thing to see, even if all the inputs are the same, that just 100% works. But getting out of that water, sometimes I screw it up. And if you can't tell already, I'm kind of touring you through the levels. I didn't spend more than maybe 15-20 minutes on any individual level trying to figure it out, just because this is to get you to play the game, not for me to show you exactly how every single level is beaten. And again, the fun part about this is if you love Mario and you just want to sit down and play some challenging games, this 100% covers it for you. This is basically like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, except as a 2D platformer, not a 3D action slash game. And that is something I really love, even if I'm not very good at them. Now, this is the first time I played through this level. This is a blind read, and there's that Kaizo piranha plant that just pops down and absolutely wrecks me. But when you go into that level the next time, you now know from memory that it's going to be there, so you have to kind of short that jump a tiny bit. Or a level like this, just basically trying to keep that mushroom. If I had just kind of jumped a little bit later, I would have been able to sort over that mushroom and actually not ended up as Small Mario. So that's the thing about these ROM hacks. You have to read everything that's going on to be able to understand how the safest way to move next is. Dying is not a bad thing. It just means you learned a little bit more information. You've seen a little bit more of the screen, so you'll do better the next time. But it's soundtrack sample time. It is just Mario 3 music, but again, that's some incredible music. 45 seconds and I'll be right back with more. I mean, music you heard 100 times before, but for the 101st time, it still sounds good to my ear. And that is the kind of thing about these ROM hacks. It's both familiar and different at the same time, and I love this mechanic right here, having to actually swim underneath these barriers and try to keep up with that platform. You have all the Cheep Cheeps just basically flying out at you, and one wrong move, one wrong input, you're absolutely going to end up dead, but you can read it for the next time. Or right here, having to use the Goombas and the Wing Goombas to be able to pop over and keep yourself safe. Once you understand what it is you're doing, you're just going to find the game that much more fun. And trust me, I know how to get past a couple of these things. I did them, but I didn't include them in the capture. That way you can see what's going on. And sometimes the game is just straight up corrupted, but I think that is basically just what the makers are going for, because no matter what platform I tried this on, one world is just corrupted world, and I think that is part of the intent. But I am not very big into the overall Mario ROM hack community, so there's not really anyone I know that plays these that I can ask. So if you do know, leave me that comment down below. But as we kind of just tour through the rest of the game here, there's so many unique individual levels, and this is something that if you're not great at Kaizo, you might spend 40-50 hours on before you actually see the end. You might never actually beat it, but there's something fun in that. A game that you can just basically sit down and play the same level over and over again, trying to get better at it. In some ways, that's why I love a bullet hell shmup, trying to actually practice, understand all the patterns and the rhythms, and trying to actually get that 1cc or as close as possible. This is basically the platforming equivalent of something like that, and you'll see there some of the enemies are just absolutely placed to screw you over every single time you try to go by them. But if you understand the rhythm, you can actually get around that, grab the mushroom, and move on with the level. So you have to pay attention to everything. Sometimes taking an intentional death just so you can get the screen to scroll a little bit more is better than trying to slow down, because sometimes you have to go fast. And you'll see there definitely a Kaizo ROM hack, because those are two Kaizo blocks, even if they didn't really lead to a death. Although if you were down there with the enemy, you would have been completely screwed over. There's something just so much fun to see what people can do with Mario Brothers, and I absolutely love watching all the speedruns and other races in some of these Kaizo ROM hacks, because you see top level play that you can only dream about. I don't think no matter how much I practice at something like this, I'd ever be able to do it in any sort of speedrun context, because if I actually spend the rest of the time to be able to beat this game, I'd probably put 100, 200, maybe even 300 hours in it, and the reality is I just don't have that much time. That's why there's some ROM hacks out there that are only like 2-3 levels long, so you don't have to get as far in. But as far as a compilation of challenge levels being updated in 2025, there is a lot to love here. Every single level does something unique. Every single level is going to challenge you in a new way. It's going to make you rethink what you know about Mario and how you can play it. And that, to me, in a genre that you played so many times before, it's just so good. And again, another Kaizo block there just to screw me over and make me lose that mushroom. Sometimes you're going to die and you're just going to be angry about it, not like in a real way, but in a joking way, just because you knew what you're supposed to do, but the maker decided, I know what you're thinking, and I'm going to block you from doing it and cause you to either take damage or die, because that's part of the charm here, just screwing the player over to get a laugh out of them. And that's what Kaizo's all about in some respects, but it's also about some just really precise platforming, screen reading, understanding all the movement mechanics of Mario, and figuring out how to string those all together to get better at the game. Or like right there, there is a door there, and how do I get to it? How do I get this piece? Which couldn't really figure it out myself, but you'll see here there's art indicators of a smiley face and a frowny face, so a lot of times the artwork within these levels will give you some sort of hint as to what you're supposed to do next. But leave me a comment down below, have you ever played a Kaizo Mario ROM hack before, and if so, which one was your favorite? I don't really play them all that often. I try to play them, but I always run out of time and have to go do something different. But as far as fun ROM hacks are concerned, this one definitely will keep you busy over the weekend when I'm probably going to show this. But that's what I love about these things. They just kind of screw you over. They screw with your perceptions. They challenge you in all the fun ways, and you get to kind of find a mechanic you like. And the best part is, as far as the Kaizo ROM hack community out there is concerned, if you don't like shell jumps, you can get ROM hacks that don't involve them. If you like weird mechanics, there's at least one maker, probably a dozen, that'll make a ROM hack based upon that one mechanic that you love so much and you actually gravitate towards. So definitely leave me some Kaizo recommendations down below as well, because as much as I try to find some fun ones, I'm sure there's a ton out there I haven't seen before. But I left the link to the patch of this down below. You just use the Super Mario All-Stars ROM to be able to patch it. It'll play on real hardware, it'll play on Mr. FPGA, it'll play on software emulation, but based upon the speed at which you need to put some inputs in, I would probably say FPGA real hardware the way to go to keep down latency. But short of that, we're done. I'm going to try to beat this game, and I'm sure I never will, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video though. Bye bye.